give our thanks to Master for the beautiful story, please. Thank you. Okay. So my topic is when you become him. And that happens step by step on this path, that he, the Master, takes over you more and more as you leave this world and leave your attachments to this world. Because this is a path of surrendering the ego and mind and the senses, of course. First of all, we're surrendering the body. And it must be replaced with something. And it's replaced with our attention in him. Attention is an expression from the soul. The soul takes identification through attention in the soul of Master. And to reach these realms, also mind finds its origin in Trikuti. And our mind is no longer an individual mind, it's a universal mind. And it's merged with the universal mind as well. So when we leave mind, have reached Trikuti and continue to Parbrahm in the divine worlds, and we, through Master, get pulled so strongly through his love and our devotion. We get so full of love, and our attention is so focused and concentrated on him, on his eyes, that there's nothing else than their eyes and his forehead. And not only that, when you merge, it goes so far that you don't see him as something apart from yourself. You see him from inside. Did you get that? Your attention is now his attention. Because it's a merge of soul to the oversoul. And he is the oversoul. You're no longer looking into his eyes, you're looking through his eyes. You're not looking at his smile. His smile has become your smile. There is no longer you left. It's only him. That's the merge. And the light is so strong that anything around it that belongs, that is around the eyes and the forehead, fall apart. And suddenly there's only light left. That's all that is. And sound. In this immense love. This presence in this moment, beyond time and space, have become your reality. It's not a presence, not only beyond thoughts. It's not a presence, not only where you can look at the observer. It's far from that. It's a presence in what love is, which has nothing to do with mind. And it's so strong that we have totally disappeared and lost everything, even the soul, into the oversoul. And through him, we can take the last part of the journey back to the realization of God. And in that moment, you have merged with all the souls. There are no separation. You are one with all, like the drop in the ocean and the ocean in the drop. That state, in the divine words, nothing is boring. I mean, if we were using our physical eyes and looked into the sun, it would hurt our eyes, of course, but it would become boring, because for mind needs changings and new perspectives. But in the divine words, there are no mind. There are no need for changing perspectives. There are no need to travel and see new worlds. We are so fulfilled of this immense love from God. It fulfills everything. We are completed. I mean, we are outstanding. We are what we have experienced as a potential is now fulfilled to 100%. It's an existence of God through everything. I remember it so well when I was walking on the streets of Stockholm in Sweden, the capital city of Sweden. And I was standing for the red light, stopping by for waiting in the cars. And this was just in the middle of the day. And I looked over, I remember this so well, there was a mother with her child on the other side. And I was looking at her, and something woke me up. And I turned my head to a sign on a building, and I heard a voice inside me telling me, nothing is important. Nothing is important. And these words, at that moment, was exactly the words I needed to hear to wake up into a new state of awareness, where I experienced that I was the only one awake and everyone else was asleep. And I continued to walk on the streets for 45 minutes in the same state of awareness. And I could see through everyone. And I saw how they were sleeping. And I was the only one awake. I felt like the prince who could kiss them awake. And this is exactly what this is about, that we are awakening step by step out of this dream. That is what the journey is about. It's a process of awakenings, nothing else. We just need confirmations, that's all. That's why we see things inside of us. That's why we need to be accompanied by beings, or see worlds within us, or have experience of coincidences in our lives. It's just confirmations to leave the doubts aside. But the real journey is about awakening. Step by step, layer by layer, into the source and up, where the unconditional love has its origin from God. This is something that has to be experienced. We cannot understand this through readings or listen to stories. We have to do this journey ourselves. And it can only be done when there is someone inside of us pulling us apart from mind. We need to take distance from mind, and that can only happen through love. But not only love as we know it, because we need to take identification in someone who have done this journey before, who already have been awakened up to the state of God, Sachkhand. Mind is always imitating the awareness of the soul. Mind cannot exist without the attention. It's like the energy, the power the mind needs to exist and have its experiences. Otherwise, it cannot work in this world. But the mind also takes identification. It's always influenced by everyone it meets. It's reflections through the neurons, as we know it in the science, in the physical world. But it's also attachments from the astral plane. And it's all written in the causal plane, in our destiny and karma. That's how we get new experiences. We are going through living a life in the merge of Him is a life where you do nothing and He does everything. In the identification of the Master, soul to soul, you are totally surrendered from heart. And you can just leave it all to Him. Even though mind still have some doubts sometimes. It does. It belongs to this world. You always know, you can always remind yourself about it. Just leave it. Because you know the answer that you shall give the mind. And just have faith. The answer is always the same. But there are also many things for the mind to accept in this world, in this life. And that can be tricky sometimes. That the life is changing. There are no longer the same goals. There are no longer the same identifications. Mind need to be reminded that this is no longer your target. And it understands. When you show the real target, which is the Master, Master is the answer for everything, because Master is your identification and mind's identification with unconditional love. And that is the answer for everything. But it's His love that pulls us, not yours. That's why you can step in and get pulled immediately with a second. Because as soon as you see Him, you get pulled. But you have to see Him. You have to be sure about His company. Then you get pulled. But we first have to, when we close our eyes, we see the darkness. And we withdraw our attention, we see the stars. When we go a bit further within, we see the sun and the blue moon. And then we see the Master. And we get pulled through the sound, of course. But the love pulls us most up to Him. We use the Simran to reach the sound. And through the sound, we see Master, and the love takes over from there. The sound continues, but it is the love that pulls us from the beginning. But we need to get closer to Him and rip off the layers of mind and Maya. And again, we're not here to become teachers, or we're not here to build societies or spread the word of His love to everyone. Because that's what mind does. You should focus on one thing, and that is Him. Then everything else will come to you. So in His company, as long as your focus is 100% to Him, you can become rich and famous with no attention to the richness and the famousness, because your attention is to him. But if you try to reach something and in this world to get famous, just to reach out with his word, and you think now you're changing, now you're doing his work and really doing his seva, you're putting so much focus from your mind for the good. It's his word, but it's the mind that doing the work. That's not seva. You should put your focus to him all the time. Even when you do your seva, don't let mind take over. Leave it. Better do nothing. Because you can come into so tricky games that mind can play with you that you never will come out from. Because then you have surrendered to the mind. You left him. That's why we say, go and merge with him first, then explore the world. Because after the merge, you will never go back to this world. Nothing can change you. Never. Nothing. Nothing is important. Nothing is important. Be awake. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your attention and the beautiful seva and satsang.
Thank you, Emmanuel. That was very beautiful. And thank you, Neil, and everyone else that made this possible. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Okay, brother Prempal, which phone are you using today? Ah, there you are. It's your phone, I suppose. Are you with us?